Dear students, welcome to Mayura Virtual Academy. In this session, we'll be learning about how to navigate between the activities. So before we can go ahead with doing that, we advise you to design this user interface or similar to this kind of user interface where we'll be having the two views where the edit text where the user can input his name and password. Whenever the user clicks on the button navigate to the next activity, he'll be taken to the different activity. And once you are done with that, so here is the layout files. For that, it has got two text views and one button, one for one edit text for the name and one edit text for the password. And the edit text can take one more attribute, that is the input type. Input type, you can give it as the password. It can be a text password, or it can be a number, or it can be number password. So in our case, we'll be using text password. We'll be using the text password. Once this is done, let us come back to main activity class. For time being, we need three views, that is edit text and button. Since we'll be accessing these edit texts, we can declare that as the private variables. For better standard of coding practices, all the global variables names should start with small m and followed with the variable or the views names. Once the views are initialized in the onCreate method, let us register the button to onClickList now. So click me button set onClickList now. We'll use the context this. So if you use the context, we need to implement unimplemented methods, that is onClick view. So whenever the user clicks on that button, this method will be invoked. So to navigate from one activity to other activity, we'll be using the intent object, intent. Since this is the local variable, we can use navigate to the next activity, new intent, and this will take two parameters. First one is context, that is we need to navigate from main activity to second activity dot class. Once this is done, we'll be using start activity method and we'll be passing that intent object. We'll be using this intent object, that is navigate to the next activity. So now let us compile this code and check the output. And here is the output. The user can give the name, say suppose Mayura. Since we have used the input type as a text password, so whatever you entered, say MAYURA, that will be hidden password. And when you click on the button navigate to the next activity, we'll be coming to the new activities. Since we have used while creating this activity, we have used backstep. Whenever you click on back button, we'll be coming back to the main activity class. So whenever you click on this button navigate to the next activity, will be shown up with the second activity. So for better user experiences, whenever the user clicks on back button, it is better we can clear this data so that user can input once again. So that we can accomplish. And one more thing is we need to send this data name, whatever the user given, that is at present Mayura, and we can display it here. Now it is welcome. So once the user clicks on that button, we can fetch the data and we can pass the data from that activity, the main activity.java file, to the second activity, and we can display it in the second activity. So whenever the user clicks on that button, so we can set the text to the empty, mname dot set text, we can make it empty. Similarly, the password we can make it as set text and we can make it as empty, so that whenever the user clicks back, user will be shown with blank, so that once again the user needs to give the data and that will be taking into the next activity. And to pass the data from one activity to other activity, we'll be using the intent object. So we'll be using navigate to the next activity that put extra method, and put extra method, first thing it will be taking the data as a key value pair. So we will define one key. Since we'll be using this key throughout this application, we can make public, we can make static final variable, so that since this is a constant final string, since this is a static variable, all the things will be in the caps lock. Okay. You can use this as name, and this key will be using in put extra method, that is here it is name, and what parameter we are going to pass? Name, that is mname dot get text dot toString. So along with this the activity class, that is second activity, we are passing the data, that is name, using the put extra method. And in the second activity, or whatever the activity that will be calling, in this case second activity, it will be receiving this data as a bundle, and from where we can fetch the data. Before we test this, that is how to send the data from main activity to the second activity, make sure that you have one simple UI designed which will have one text view, where we'll be replacing that view with whatever the data that we'll be sending it from the main activity. So in this case we have designed a simple the user interface where we have given one welcome, and this will be using for the second scenario. First let us have a look at this, how to send the data from main activity to second activity. So once the data we have put into the intent object using the put extra and the key, come to second activity. In the second activity we will be receiving the data using the bundle object. Say for at present our concern is only with the text view, so we can initialize that in the onCreate method. Since that view, that the text view will be using throughout the activity, I have made that view as a global parameter. So we will create one bundle object, bundle. You can get intent dot get extras. Through this we'll be getting the bundle object. So before we retrieve the data from the bundle object, we can have one null check. Suppose if we are just launching the activity and if we are not putting any extras into this, so this bundle object will be null, and whenever we are trying to access the data using the bundle object, that is null object, the app will be crashing. So we can have one defensive null check, that is null not equal to bundle. Then we can retrieve the data. So we are sending the string, that is name. From the bundle object we can get bundle dot get string, and we have defined the key in the main activity, that is public. We have given the public access, so main activity dot name. So we can retrieve the data, and we'll be sending we'll be assigning that data to the welcome view, that is welcome view dot set text. We can use welcome, and we can append this with the name that we have sent from main activity. And this is how we retrieve the data from the bundle object. So in the main activity, whenever the user clicks on unclick, we create one intent object, and from it takes two parameters, that is context, and from here where it should navigate, that is second activity. Since we need to pass the data, I think we can remove this toast, and for that intent object will be sent. In order to send the data, we'll be using the put extra method. It will have key and value. Key is a constant, that is name. We have defined the public the constant with the name, and from the edit text we'll be retrieving the data using get text to string method. Once we have given the data into the intent object, in our case we have given only the one data, that is name. So if you have many the parameters that we need to pass from main activity to the second activity, we can put using the put extras method. and once this is done we can start an activity. Whenever the user clicks back, in order to provide good user experience, we will set the text of the two parameters, that is the name and password, to blank password dot set text to the blank, and you can save the changes and let us compile and look into the changes. And here is the output. So let us give name as Mayura, and the password also, and you can click on the button navigate to next activity. Say here we'll be displaying the name, that is welcome Mayura. And this is how we navigate between the activities, and we can send the data from one activity to the other activity. And hope you have completed this user interface, that is one more edit text and with one button. So we'll change this button name to the back activity. So in the next session we'll be looking how we can send the data from second activity, that is here, and we can display that in this title. So that's it for today, and take care, have a great day.